Counting sheep, dungeon style. Talia and Gorgu had made their way to the lands of the Knights of the Order of Sheep. These bleating heroes had access to unsavory magic that turned their enemies into harmless woolly creatures. Would Talia still be able to make short work of them?
The power flows through my veins. I am even stronger.
This time, the siblings managed to get into a fight even as the story was being read. Meanwhile, Gorgu continued to cry. Well, I guess it's up to me to tell a story. What helps you fall asleep better than a tale about sheep? Once upon a time, there, at the edge of the horizon and the map, stood the fortress of the Knights of the Order of Sheep, in all its architectural mediocrity.
Tch, no time for pictures. I'll admire the smoking ruins later. Forward, creatures! Architectural mediocrity is only allowed in dungeons.
But on her way to the fortress, Talia encountered one of the Knights of the Order of Sheep's fog machines. This produced a magical fog that, well, let's just say, had certain transformative properties, as the curious evil would surely find out soon enough. There it marched, the impatient evil's glorious army. But suddenly, the fog machine kicked in. A magical fog spread out, and ta-da! The terrifying creatures turned into fluffy little sheep. Even Talia, the general of evil, was not spared. Bah! I mean, how unfortunate. The woolly evil seemed to have suffered a minor setback. But fortunately, there was a possible solution, a sheep farm. There, dynamite sheep were bred, originally for a different video game. Explosive, determined, and conveniently immune to being turned into a sheep, the tactically minded evil might find this information useful.
These bleating clowns will pay for turning me into a sheep. They will suffer, they will scream, they will drench their fluffy wool cloaks with tears. Forward, my loyal minions, get me those explosive balls of wool.
payday. Your little snots have dug up a spider. Manivores have appeared in your dungeon. Payday. A new area of the dungeon has been discovered.
The noble knights of the Order of Sheep had thrown off their cozy sheepskin bathrobes and donned their battle gear, and were now stumbling toward the dungeon. The eye-rolling evil was undoubtedly delighted to hear that the knights had brought their sharp swords with them, and their impressive armor. How thoughtful of them.
What? Those woolly-clad wannabe heroes dare to attack our dungeon? Forward, creatures! Show them what happens when you mess with evil! Rip their helmets from their heads and use them as soup bowls or bedpans! Ha ha ha!
Enemies are in the dungeon. You have unearthed a new area in the dungeon.
The tactically minded evil's creatures were very close to the first sheep farm. The dynamite sheep bred there were the urgently needed key to destroying the pesky fog machines. Nothing screams combat superiority like explosive livestock.
Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay.
The strategy-minded evil noticed that the sheep farm was suddenly surrounded by a magic shield. Tacky, because that way it couldn't be taken. This protection seemed to depend on the protecting hero's life energies. Only when these had been eliminated could the sheep farm be taken. With a snap of its fingers, or whatever a hand gesture challenged evil does, the first sheep farm became part of its arsenal. At regular intervals, another explosive woolly marvel would be prepared, ready to be released at the impatiently waiting evil's command.
Now things are going to get explosive. These bleating bombs will show those knights what happens when you mess with evil. They'll be blown to smithereens. Their armor will hang in the trees like wind chimes, and their helmets will be used as fancy flower pots. Forward, my fluffy explosives. Bring the burn to this battle.
Boom! Another dynamite sheep had just turned itself into a spectacular fireball. The pyrotechnics-loving evil clapped its hands in delight. I'm sure the sheep would have done the same if it still had hands, or if it still existed.
Your little snots have dug into a spider nest.
The explosively successful evil had transformed the first fog machine into a pretty collection of twisted metal parts. What a triumph for modern sheep warfare. The area was now free of fog and could be crossed safely by creatures. The Knights of the Order of Sheep were somewhat less thrilled. A large group of them set off to express their disapproval of the destruction of their property with armed force.
Did those tin tinkerers really think they could stop us with a little fog? Ridiculous! And now their knights come running. Perfect. More heads to smash, more armor to destroy, more boots to, remove and use as stylish flower vases.
payday.
Ah, the sweet symphony of destruction. A dynamite sheep had made its last big appearance. An impressive performance. The critical evil awarded it 9 out of 10 points. 1 point was deducted for insufficient shrapnel spread.
The charity organization Petting Dogs and Cats for Armless Children had carelessly sent out a shipment. Pretty much an evilness delivery service, to be honest. Ding dong, it's payday. A new area has been unearthed in the dungeon.
Another dynamite sheep bid farewell to this world with a spectacular bang. Its last bar was elegantly replaced by a kaboom. More dynamite sheep took to the field at the explosion-loving evil's behest. They looked so innocent, until you noticed the slightly manic gleam in their eyes and, of course, the ticking clocks hanging around their fluffy necks. But details, details.
A gold vein is almost exhausted.
The wandering, curious evil had discovered a particularly good being. Should this beacon of righteousness be defeated, another dungeon gate would be revealed. It's almost as if someone deliberately scattered these strategic options around the map.
Blech. That positively radiates virtue. My eyes, they're burning from so much goodness. Forward, my creatures! Get rid of it! Trample it, squash it, use its halo as a frisbee.
The methodically murderous evil had defeated the forces of good and conquered a new dungeon gate. And that was not all. The adjoining chamber was overflowing with treasure. Gold, jewels, magical artifacts, and probably a lost sock or two. Things I could really use myself.
Treasure. Shiny, sparkling, magical treasure. Enough gold to cast a statue of myself. Life-size. No, twice as big as life. And of course, none of it's going to some lousy narrator.
But the gold and treasure were cursed. Suddenly, heroes invaded the dungeon, having snuck up from behind and therefore not been visible on the map at all.
Hey! Unfair!
Payday.
Boom! Another fog machine ended its career as a functioning device and began a new life as a decorative scrap heap. The magical fog dissipated as quickly as my career plans for the theater. But shortly thereafter, the knights arrived, as punctual as a tax assessment and just as welcome. The now battle-ready evil was surely delighted by these moving targets. Another dynamite sheep had decided to change jobs, from explosives courier to explosive agent. An interesting career development.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
And a few dynamite sheep materialized out of thin air. The militarily innovative evil revolutionized warfare. Why build complicated siege engines when you could just stuff sheep full of explosives?
Payday.
Boom! Another dynamite sheep had just turned itself into a spectacular fireball. The pyrotechnics-loving evil clapped its hands in delight. I'm sure the sheep would have done the same if it still had hands, or if it still existed.
The Swimming with Dolphins for the Starving Relief Society was moving a donation to a safe place. Unfortunately, they had not counted on the merciless evil's nearby dungeon. A gold vein has been mined out.
The furrow-browed evil had made a most unpleasant discovery. The sheep farm was protected by a flickering magic shield. The source of this arcane barrier was fed by the life energy of the heroic guards nearby. Only when these selfless beings had received their, let's call it, existence status update, would the farm become accessible. And there they appeared, fresh dynamite sheep, summoned directly from the great nothing by the creative evil. They blinked in confusion, as if asking themselves, "Why do I exist?" A philosophical question that they would soon answer with a loud boom. Ah, the sweet symphony of destruction. A dynamite sheep had made its last big appearance. An impressive performance. The critical evil awarded it 9 out of 10 points. 1 point was deducted for insufficient shrapnel spread.
Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. Your little snots have completely mined out a gold vein. Enemies are in the dungeon.
A small dynamite sheep, the scouts of the absolute evil, had heard rumors of a second entrance to the dungeon. All the tactically minded evil had to do was to clear this hero-filled area of self-appointed good guys to gain access to another dungeon entrance.
Ha! The Knights of the Order of Sheep must be trembling in their polished boots. Forward, my creatures! Free this area from these heroic troublemakers. Trample them, tear them apart. Use their helmets as salad bowls and their pikes as oversized cheese skewers.
It's payday.
The desperately seeking sheep evil encountered an unexpected obstacle. The sheep farm was suddenly encased in a shimmering magic shield. This extremely annoying barrier between evil and the woolly demolition experts, so desired, seemed to be connected to the life signs of the nearby heroes.
You've dug into a spider room. You've dug into a spider room. Your little snots have dug into a spider nest. Manivores have appeared in your dungeon.
The tactically planning evil had summoned more woolly explosive devices into battle. The Knights of the Order of Sheep would not know whether to pet them or flee from them. Once again, a fluffy little demolition expert turned itself into a significantly less fluffy fireball. The statistically inclined evil noted, sheep population down 1, craters up 1. Yet again, the militarily innovative evil demonstrated its penchant for unconventional warfare. An involuntarily voluntary dynamite sheep just reduced a hero building to an impressive pile of rubble.
Your enemies are in the dungeon. Payday!
The relentless evil had succeeded in ridding the area of all those troublesome heroes and claimed the dungeon gate for itself. This would dramatically accelerate the demise of the Knight's Order.
A gold vein is almost exhausted. Man-of-wars have been discovered in your dungeon. Your little snots have roused some lava lumps. Enemies are in the dungeon.
Once again, a few dynamite sheep appeared through the power of the shepherd-like evil. They trotted around happily, completely unaware that their sole purpose in life was to explode in spectacular fashion.
A shipment of relief supplies for the needy was underway. That sounded like some easy-to-earn evilness.
Boom! Another dynamite sheep had just turned itself into a spectacular fireball. The pyrotechnics-loving evil clapped its hands in delight. I'm sure the sheep would have done the same if it still had hands, or if it still existed.
Your little snots have dug into a spider nest. A new area has been unearthed in the dungeon. Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay. Your enemies are in the dungeon.
The inexorably advancing evil drew ever closer to the fortress of the Knights of the Order of Sheep. The architecturally mediocre home of these champions of good was about to make the acquaintance of the destructive army of evil. However, some of the knights decided not to wait for the attack and instead charged toward their enemy.
Defend the dungeon hut.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Despite all warning, despite my exaggeratedly clear instructions, the advice-resistant evil's creatures had entered the fog and were, surprise, surprise, turned into sheep. Who could have guessed? Oh, right, me.
That was just a tactical sacrifice. Yeah, that's right. We just wanted to test whether the fog really works as claimed.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
And poof! A few dynamite sheep materialized out of thin air. The militarily innovative evil revolutionized warfare. Why build complicated siege engines when you could just stuff sheep full of explosives?
payday.
With her spectacular bang, the last fog machine also bid this world farewell. The triumphantly grinning evil had actually managed to eliminate the entire foggy threat, an impressive achievement for someone whose main strategy was to send sheep out to explode.
Oh, that was amusing. And now the last few of their little knights are coming running. How cute. Forward, my creatures. Tear their armor from their bodies and make wind chimes out of it. Chop up their swords and use them as toothpicks. And then we'll plunge their fortress into chaos with a touch of annihilation and a pinch of total destruction.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Another dynamite sheep bid farewell to this world with a spectacular bang. Its last bar was elegantly replaced by a kaboom. The tactically planning evil had summoned more woolly explosive devices into battle. The Knights of the Order of Sheep would not know whether to pet them or flee from them. One of the towers in front of the fortress collapsed spectacularly, thanks to the architecture-critical evil's destructive efforts. However, the Knights of the Order of Sheep appeared unwilling to accept defeat with dignity and threw themselves into battle. The relentlessly hammering evil's creatures mercilessly pounded the fortress. But of course, how could it be otherwise? More knights arrived as reinforcements to prevent the inevitable.
The walls of this ridiculous fortress are crumbling faster than Tristan's self-confidence when I hide his favorite toy. Hold on. Are those even more heroes running towards us?
The triumphantly cheering evil had succeeded. The once proud fortress of the Knights of the Order of Sheep was now nothing more than a picturesque pile of rubble and broken dreams. The road here was lined with exploded dynamite sheep. An awful, awful lot of exploded dynamite sheep. So many that even the most hardened shepherds had to fight back tears. The victorious evil had once again proven that with enough determination, tactical skill, and a disturbingly large number of explosive-laden farm animals, nothing is impossible. And so the story ended. Our little friend Gorgu had finally given up. Counting dynamite sheep had made him incredibly tired. And not only he, but also the two eternally quarreling siblings had retired to bed and slept the sleep of the righteous, or the unjust and malicious in Talia's case. Anyway, that's it for Tales from the Campfire. Take care and good night. And don't forget, if you can't sleep, just count dynamite sheep.